As you all know, there is a lot of negativity about Bethesda on YouTube, Reddit and other forums. This is understandable given how they have mismanaged the Elder Scrolls and Fallout IPs and their absolute focus on MMOs compared to single-player RPGs. The community can absolutely be critical of Bethesda and they deserve it. However, all of this has also fostered a commercially viable industry centered on negativity. A casual glance at some of these channels shows how generating hostile discourse about Bethesda has become a highly profitable business model. Observe the amazing content produced here. It is beyond pathetic. As you can see, most of their material relies on sensationalism and inflammatory rhetoric. Their videos are frequently characterized by clickbait titles and thumbnails, often featuring caricatures of figures like Todd Howard or the iconic logos of Elder Scrolls or Fallout, strategically designed to provoke an emotional response. This content is frequently low in genuine critical insight and high in exaggerated manufactured controversy. I watched some of these videos and they offer nothing substantial. You'll find a lot of cherry-picked arguments and the same old tired tropes offering no new real insights. There is no commitment to balanced criticism or deep journalistic integrity. The main intention behind this is to manipulate the platform's algorithms, secure maximum visibility, and ultimately convert outrage into ad revenue. Their goal is to not foster constructive dialogue about game development, but simply to grab eyeballs and monetize the inevitable cycle of outrage and disappointment perceived by a vocal subset of the gaming community. The constant barrage of sensationalism and hyperbole has unfortunately reached a critical point where it is exceedingly difficult to distinguish genuine thoughtful critiques and reviews from pure attention-seeking clickbait. I must strongly urge the community to actively resist the temptation to fuel this negative feedback loop. The most effective way to discourage this type of content creation is to deny it the engagement and viewership it craves. I implore you to avoid watching, sharing or otherwise interacting with the videos, articles and posts from these individuals whose primary goal is not honest discussion but monetary gain through manufactured outrage or false controversy. It is a predictable pattern and we should expect it to see repeated with every major upcoming Bethesda release. These content manipulators are not driven by a passion for the subject matter, they are driven by the metrics of engagement. Rest assured, the moment anticipation begins to build for Elder Scrolls 6, these same very people will pivot their entire strategy to produce similarly divisive and alarmist content, attempting to exploit the hype for personal profit. Bethesda is being criticized and mentioned not only by opportunistic YouTubers, but also by other developers within the industry. Here is Chris Avalon, one of the designers of Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas. He recently commented that Bethesda does not understand Fallout and says their games are colorful and shallow theme parks. The Wayward Realms team, who are working on the spiritual successor of Daggerfall, also regularly bring up Skyrim or Oblivion, how the Wayward Realms game won't be a theme park like the new Elder Scrolls games. It raises the question, why do these developers discuss Bethesda rather than focusing on their own games? To me, this behavior suggests gatekeeping, a superiority complex with a dismissive attitude, or perhaps even professional jealousy. Anyway, here's my understanding of their arguments. Let's talk about modern Elder Scrolls games first and then we'll talk about Fallout next. The developers of Wayward Realms categorize games like Morrowind, Oblivion and Skyrim as theme parks. This is based on their smaller world scale and the design where all creatures and NPCs essentially wait for the player. The world lacks persistence without player action and quests don't have time limits. They see the player's adventure on this tiny map as akin to a theme park experience. In contrast, they view Daggerfall as a real-life fantasy simulator rather than a theme park, which is the model they aim to emulate with Wayward Realms. While I understand their perspective, the superiority of a fantasy life simulator over a theme park simulator is ultimately subjective. For instance, I personally found the faction questlines in Daggerfall repetitive, boiling down to the same gameplay loop. Enter a dungeon, defeat enemies, retrieve an item, and grind reputation. I much prefer the narrative engagement of quests found in mods like Tamriel Rebel's Unwritten Fighters Guild questline or the side quests in Beyond Skyrim Bruma. Similarly, Daggerfall's large cities felt monotonous and indistinct. I enjoy the unique, distinct character of cities like Vivek City, Solitude, Narcissus, or Bruma. So, do I prefer theme park simulators over fantasy life simulators? Sure. I would always prefer to play Tamriel Rebuilt or Beyond Skyrim Bruma any day over doing soulless handcrafted radiant quests of Daggerfall. That is just my preference. A Daggerfall fan, for example, might prefer fantasy life simulators and will not enjoy Morrowind or Skyrim. Ultimately, everything is subjective. One game design isn't objectively superior to another. Therefore, all the clickbait you encounter online, such as claims that Wayward Realms will destroy the Elder Scrolls, is simply that, clickbait. Now, let's move to the Fallout theme park accusations. I'm not a Fallout guy, my understanding may be wrong. Please correct me in the comments. The criticism leveled by many Fallout New Vegas elitists, including figures like Avalon, is that Bethesda's Fallout games feel like a theme park. Their core argument is rooted in the progression of the Fallout timeline. Fallout 1 depicted a gritty post-apocalypse less than a century after the war. Fallout 2 moved the setting further out, showcasing the nascent stages of societal recovery. Fallout New Vegas featured true pockets of a bona fide civilization. These elitists feel that a world that demonstrates forward progress is essential to Fallout's central theme. Conversely, they hate Bethesda's Fallout 3, Fallout 4 and the TV show because they perceive a stagnation where the war never changes, and this stagnation is characterized by the persistent mess of the world and the repeated use of the same 3 or 4 factions. That's my understanding of this Fallout theme park criticism. Again, correct me if I'm wrong here and do share what you think about Chris Avalon's theme park accusations. Here is Tim Kaine, the creator of the Fallout IP. He recently spoke about this.
Every single Fallout game changed a little in the games that came before. It's always happened. The lore has always drifted a little. Fallout 2 changed some things in 1. Fallout 3 changed some things in 1 and 2. Fallout 4 changed some things in 1, 2, and 3. It happens. This is also what Tim Kaine thinks. So, not that it matters. You know what? I'm not in charge of this anymore. Neither are you. Basically, anything Bethesda does from now on, that's canon. So, I think it's fun to talk about this, though. I don't think it's fun when people make personal attacks about it, so cut that out, please. But certainly have fun with this show. Look at the lore, look at the Easter eggs. Pick things apart, have fun with it. But do it if it's fun for you. If you're doing it out of a spirit of just being spiteful,
Tim is awesome. Enjoy the creativity, art, and stop this hatred. Anyway, my personal wishlist for Bethesda's Fallout 5 focuses on core RPG mechanics and quest quality. Bring back skills. The omission of the traditional skill system in Fallout 4 was a significant detriment to the RPG experience in my opinion. This major system needs to be reinstated. I always play Fallout 4 with skill mods. Focus on new towns. I want fewer generic settlement sites with repetitive radiant quests and more substantial, well-realized towns with NPCs that serve as meaningful quest hubs. Enhance quest design. Quests must offer quality narratives, meaningful choices, branching paths. Don't be lazy to code alternate paths. Avoid essential NPCs. If these 3 fundamental improvements are made, the game will be a success in my eyes, regardless of whether its overall structure leans towards a theme park or not. Anyway, that's my Sunday musings. Do share your comments about what we discussed, and I will see you next time.